Earth has a sister, but she is not the kind relative you are used to seeing in glossy textbooks. She is an original, a distorted, violent, and terrifying reflection. We call her Venus. For decades, official science has fed us a lie, that it is merely a lifeless hell of sulfuric acid and melting lead. But why then? Why were the greatest minds of the Soviet Union in such absolute terror? Because of what appeared on the secret, high-resolution panoramic images. And why, for the last 40 years, has humanity, literally obsessed with Mars, been panicking? Afraid to even look toward this toxic, yellow abyss. In March 1982, the Soviet probe Venera 13 achieved the impossible. It landed in the very heart of a nightmare, where reality itself melts. Temperature, 470 degrees Celsius. Pressure, 90 times higher than Earth's, as if you were standing under a mile of ocean water. In these conditions, heavy-duty metal turns into a viscous mush within minutes. The probe had a little over 2 hours before its electronics would go silent forever under the monstrous weight of the atmosphere. No, it was at the 127th minute that something happened, something that made the scientists at Mission Control hold their breath. On frames that were dismissed for decades as technical glitches, modern algorithms have revealed something inexplicable. These were not film defects. The panoramas clearly show complex objects, possessing symmetry, and, most chillingly, a will for independent movement. Astrophysicist Leonid Ksanfomality maintained until his final days. We have recorded life. No, it is life that does not fit into any earthly theory. Objects, named the disk, the black flap, and the scorpion, brazenly change their positions from frame to frame. Do you know what is the most terrifying sound in the universe? It is the recording of the wind on Venus, made by that very probe. It does not sound like moving air. It sounds like a heavy, otherworldly groan. What if Venus is our own future? That has already arrived for someone else. Stay with us, because next we will reveal the data of the signal. That Venera 13 transmitted 1 second before its destruction. A signal. That was not digital code, it was a blood-curdling warning. When the first cleaned images landed on the desks of the space program's leadership, a dead silence filled the rooms. Panorama number 1 captured a strange semi-disc-shaped object. In the second shot, it suddenly changed its contours. By the third, it had vanished entirely, leaving only a distinct furrow in the ground. If these are just rocks, why do they crawl? If it is just sensor noise, why does this noise cast its own distinct shadow? Scientists were faced with a terrifying hypothesis. Life on Venus might not be carbon-based like ours. It could be nitrogen or polymer-based. These beings live at a tempo that the human brain simply cannot comprehend. For them, 400 degrees of heat is a comfortable coolness, while our earthly pressure is a lethal vacuum. But the strangest discovery came later. In the recordings of the Venera 14 mission, an object was captured and officially named the Scorpion. It had a distinct head, a long segmented body, and limbs. The most chilling part occurred when the lander began drilling into the soil. The Scorpion wasn't just watching. It began a purposeful movement toward the craft, as if instantly reacting to the noise and vibration of the uninvited guest. Why was this priceless data immediately buried in the deepest archives? Acknowledging life on Venus would mean the total collapse of modern biology. It was easier to claim these were hallucinations of old lenses. But if it was a technical error, why did the USSR suddenly and permanently shut down the Venus program, despite it being the most successful in their history? The last classified probes sent back data regarding sharp, unnatural spikes in electromagnetic radiation. It was as if someone, or something, invisible, was scanning our probes in response to our intrusion. We are used to thinking we are safe because deep space is silent. But Venus was never silent. It screamed at frequencies that we are only now beginning to understand. Ahead of us lies the most classified topic of all, the Great Filter Theory. We will find out why Venus is a mirror into which humanity is too afraid to look. What did the powerful radars of the Magellan mission actually discover beneath the thick layer of eternal clouds? And why do the giant structures found there look so hauntingly like the ruins of ancient cities? In the early 90s, the Magellan spacecraft performed a complete high-precision scan of the surface of Venus. Dense clouds were no longer a barrier. What the operators saw on their screens resembled a nightmarish and majestic dream of a mad architect in certain regions of the planet, such as Aphrodite Terra. Radars recorded anomalous, geometrically regular formations, straight lines, intersecting at ideal 90-degree angles, huge domes, tens of kilometers in diameter, scattered across the plateaus. Officially, NASA called these natural tectonic formations. But look at these images more closely. Nature rarely builds perfect squares, symmetrical platforms, and multi-kilometer viaducts that stretch across sharp mountain ridges. A group of independent researchers is convinced we are looking at the remains of megacities, of a great civilization that tragically perished millions of years ago. Venus was once almost an exact copy of our Earth. Oceans splashed there, and the composition of the atmosphere allowed for deep breathing. But something turned this blooming paradise into a sealed crematorium. There is a theory that makes leading scientists wake up in a cold sweat. It is the ruthless theory of the greenhouse explosion. According to calculations, if the planet's temperature crosses the critical mark by just a couple of degrees, the process becomes irreversible. Oceans boil away in decades, turning into dense, suffocating steam, which traps the deadly heat even more. Venus is our visual aid of what happens to a world that failed to handle its own technologies. These ruins under the clouds are not just stones, they are eternal monuments to those who could not escape. But there is another, even darker version. Those who once built these cities have not disappeared. They simply descended much deeper into the lower layers of the crust, or radically adapted to life in the atmosphere itself. Have you noticed that at an altitude of 50 kilometers above the surface of Venus, the conditions are practically Earth-like? There is ideal pressure and temperature. Researchers call this the habitability zone. What if the strange dark spots in the clouds of Venus are colonies of intelligent bacteria or huge planktonic organisms floating in the acid skies? Right now, we have come to the main revelation. In the final part, we will discuss why modern billionaires have suddenly started talking about Venus again. What do they know that we don't? And what terrifying signal did scientists receive just a few months ago? Recently, a sensational discovery hit the world headlines. Phosphine gas was detected in the atmosphere of Venus. On Earth, this gas is produced either in secret laboratories or by microorganisms. It is an undeniable chemical signature of life. While traditional scientists argued about the experiment's purity, radio astronomers recorded a series of anomalous bursts emanating directly from the upper cloud layers. These were not chaotic natural noises. These signals followed a clear and complex mathematical progression. Why is this happening now? Perhaps we have simply become better at listening. Or perhaps the planet we considered dead for decades is beginning to show signs of activity because we have shown interest in it once again. Elon Musk and major private companies have suddenly started talking about urgent missions to Venus. And this is about more than just curiosity. There is a strong suspicion that something far more valuable is hidden in those clouds. Technologies for survival in the most extreme conditions the universe has ever known. Venus is both our distant past and our terrifying future. It serves as a brutal lesson on the fragility of biological life and how quickly an entire planet can turn into a scorched pressure cooker. Those strange objects from old Soviet probe images, the scorpions and the disks, are not just exobiology. They are an eternal warning that life will always find a way to exist, even in the heart of hell. But it will be infinitely far from human concepts of morality. The next time you see that bright point in the evening sky, remember, you are looking at a world that has already survived its own apocalypse. And perhaps those who managed to endure in that eternal flame are now watching us closely, wondering exactly when we will make the same fatal mistake. We are only beginning to unravel the great mysteries of the USSR archives and secret NASA images. But one thing is clear: Venus will never be silent again. The next craft to touch its sands may receive a direct and conscious response. Are you truly ready to hear it? Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the exclusive decryption of new data from the darkest depths of space. The story is only beginning. Sleep tight if you can.